Hey guys, good morning. Morning, Isaac. Morning, Golan. Yeah, Tesla did pretty well yesterday. I thought, it was up decently while the market was effectively flat. So that was nice to see. But ultimately, I'm kind of getting to a place mentally where it's not, if we're going to have a 7 to 10% correction, sooner rather than later. I think it's coming, at some point soon, would be my expectation. Personally, I've never really seen a trending market like this where it just kind of grinds higher, sub 1%, sub 1% up or down for more than a month. Obviously, the VIX being this low has something to do with it, but I'm a little bit more cautious on tacking on too much brand new exposure. A lot of stocks that have been leading are getting beaten up on earnings, whether we're talking about a Netflix or this morning a Spotify or this morning an RCL. And I do own CCL, and RCL is kind of pulling in my CCL as well. So and this name has earned the right to just rebuild an entire new base. But now we're gapping underneath the 20 simple moving average. Not always my favorite to see, gap down on earnings because you don't know how bad it can get. I mean, we've seen Okta, where you look like you're in a nice little uptrend, and then all of a sudden you gap below, and then, it could get a whole lot worse quickly. So, just so far, this earnings season's been kind of a nothing burger. It hasn't been all that great. So, like Novo this morning, or NVO, got absolutely smoked too. Yeah, SoFi's fine. SoFi was fine, but it wasn't buyable to me. You're already a bit extended from the 50 simple moving average. So I don't buy stocks, more than 4, maybe 5 times their average true range from the 50. So at this point, it was already a little extended. I can't show up and buy this thing even more extended now. Yeah, AppLovin fine. AppLovin looks all right. It's just, again, I look at this. I need more of like a flat pivot, and there's no flat pivot here. It's just a channel, and I personally hate channels. Tesla looks fine. I bought it yesterday. Basically, where I bought it, like a week, like 2 weeks ago. I bought this thing on whatever day this was, 7/18, and I couldn't hold it into earnings. I was hoping for a little bit more cushion, but nothing. If Tesla can stay over its 50 simple moving average, that would be awesome. And then ideally, I'm adding over 338 pretty soon. So. CCL is fine. I own it from a whole lot lower, but it is gapping down on RCL earnings. So, we're just under the 20 simple moving average now. Nothing totally crazy, down about 70 cents. But, it's as long as we're kind of holding, mid 28s, I should be okay to just hold on to it. The 50 is now above my average. I'm not giving it down to the 50, but again, I'm trimmed on the name. I don't really care too much, to be honest with you. No, there isn't, XD. There's not a whole lot to do out here. I did not buy core yesterday. I didn't like the setup. Although I did see the little flag, I didn't like the setup enough to buy it. And for a second, I actually thought you were talking about this core, this little flag. But as it relates to COUR, I did not buy this in the morning. And these crypto treasury names are kind of losing a bit of their luster. You had ZOOZ this morning report that they're buying Bitcoin, and you get a pop this morning and a complete unwind. So it's not the best in terms of a theme. It's kind of running, 180 million bucks for Bitcoin Treasury Reserve. That like news headline is like losing some of its luster. My stop on Tesla is just yesterday's lows. Yeah, it's under the low of the day that I buy it. Could I set it a little bit lower? Not quite with my size. Vape Treasury, Vape Binance Treasury. I mean, this thing will end up looking like BMNR soon enough. Way down. What's my reasoning for buying Tesla? Well, it's above the 200. It's been smacked with so much bad news, and it was reclaiming the 200 simple moving average. Yeah, I'm not getting aggressive on new positions. Even Tesla was smaller than a 10% portfolio position. So I just I can't do it. Mentally, where I'm taking like these massive brand new positions up here in the market that is just up 40% in less than 4 months, right? We can all see the uptrend. Everybody sees it, but this is completely not normal, right? You get to a stage where it's just grinding higher vertical effectively every single day. And I just mentally can't do it where I'm packing on, huge positions. Because here's the thing too, like I am not even able to get really nice traction on my longs. So if that's the case, then, I just know that I need to size it down. And once we get to a point where we've had a correction, 5% at minimum, and then we have some kind of a follow through and a few more clean setups, then I'll go ahead and get involved there. But yeah, for now, I need to keep positions to 5 to 8% and just stay fairly small until we have some sort of correction. And then we'll see how it is that my watch list holds up, and I'll take it from there. Any particular chart I'm watching today? Honestly, with the amount of charts that I look at, I'm really looking at a bit of everything. My job is always to try and figure out if money is going to a particular place versus another. I'm not really looking at any certain chart for an entry. Like maybe there's a DraftKings out there if it were to start ripping through 45. But there is nothing really out there that goes, man, I have to own it. Like Shopify, I think needs a little bit more digestion. NXT is in a bad group, so not one that I would buy, but, it looks like your solar leader, maybe Tesla, if we can get going, with some volume over yesterday's high. TSM's too extended. Yeah, there's no setup here. I tried buying TSM over this little consolidation here on this day, 202. But it acted poorly intraday, and I had to let it go. So, yeah, I'm not really looking to hammer into anything, to be completely honest with you. My long setups are few. Instead, I'm kind of thinking more about the short side. But I've also gotten no real traction on the short side. So I can think about the short side all I want, but there has really been no traction to be had on the short side. It's just been a matter of get in your long setups and then let them work. Why didn't I buy core yesterday? Because I didn't like the setup. I know it's a high volume close setup, but it gapped up above that level. So this is the way that I look at it, right? The spot that I'm watching was 1237, right? And in the morning, we're already gapping up 1265. So then the way that I look at it is I want to buy a 5-minute opening range break. Well, do I really want to buy it 1332? The answer is no, not really. Right? If I'm looking at it down here, right, I'm not trying to buy it way up here on a 5-minute opening range break, meaning I let the first 5-minute bar develop and I'm looking to buy that breakout. And then if I end up buying that breakout, right, you think about my stop way down here, which is still above the level that I really wanted to buy it through. So, with the high volume close, it's like I'm really focused on 1237. If I can't get that level, I just don't buy it. I know some people get massive FOMO, like, oh my God, I'm going to miss it. I can't believe I'm missing it. Oh my God. And then all of a sudden they buy this crap way up here and then they get round tripped on and stopped out. And it happens to people way too often. So, again, think about where the market has come from. You have to think about where the market's up 40%. The market's up 40% in 3.5 months. Guys, it's fucking insanity. It's like 2 years of gains in 4 months. The risk reward to buy longs, when I had zero stress on buying longs, was middle to end of April and into May. Right? It was when you found your best stocks, your Hood, your Netflix, your Palantir, your Uber, your CLS, your NVIDIA, your AVGO, your CRDO, right? Like those are when your best setups occur. Now we've gone up 40% and everybody's like, it's going to be 1999. It's going to be a blow off top. It's going to be incredible. And like, that's the shit that you hear. Like that's the sentiment floating around on X. Like you've seen nothing yet. It's going to get even more insane. It's like, it's up fucking 40%. We're up 40 fucking percent. The risk reward happened already. The best risk reward. The best thing to do here is look for relative weakness for things to short or do nothing at all and take super small size on the long side or literally do nothing and wait for some sort of correction. But again, I know people can't do that. It's like, everybody sees the market going up and they're like, I'm missing it. Oh my God, I'm missing it. I can't believe it. It's going up without me. It's like, well, then, you should have done your job. I personally screwed up because I let some really nice stocks go early, like let go of them early. And that was my mistake. But I still have some really nice things working for me. And if the market's going to go higher, I own ARC, I own CCL, I own some IBIT, so I'm hopeful for Bitcoin. I own some Oklo, send these names to the moon. I got Toast and I got Tesla, and I'm still actively trying to get myself in more long positions, but I'm not chasing stocks higher. I'm not chasing the market. I'm not looking at a stock like SoFi today and being like, oh yeah, Ariel, what do you think about an earnings gap up? No, we are so extended from the 50. I'm not coming in while this thing is up 40% above its 50 and buying it here. No thanks. I don't care if it goes to 50 without me. I just don't care. So you got to learn to buy right, and sit tight. No, I either end up getting stopped out or I just play the other side of the market. Right? I'm happy to short too. Like, shorting doesn't bother me whatsoever. If the market is not getting that correction, I continue to try to get myself long in more names, Arun. Right? I'm literally out here trying to. A few days ago, I bought Oklo. A few days after that, or a day after that, I bought Toast. And then like a day after that, I bought Tesla. And I had to take Tesla off before earnings because I had no real cushion. I just took my little money off the table and ran. And then it's pretty resilient after earnings, so I bought it back, as we were taking out prior day high. That's it. So, I'm trying to get repositioned on the long side, but if the market keeps grinding higher, then I'm assuming Bitcoin will keep grinding higher. I'm assuming ARK will keep grinding higher, and I'm in things that will just keep grinding higher. Do I have all of the exposure on that I wish I would have? No, not really, but something better than nothing. Yeah, there are a lot of names down on earnings recently. Whether it's Spotify is one that doesn't look too good. Netflix recently not acting all that great, now below the 50. Royal Caribbean down quite a bit. I saw WHR Whirlpool, although this is kind of a turd to begin with. So yeah, there are a bunch of names that are recently down on earnings, and it's the environment we're in. I don't know. I wouldn't gamble on Carvana before earnings. I like the way that it's holding the 50, but I don't buy stocks a day before earnings, Cotton. Yeah, if the quantum names want to start to break down, under yesterday's lows on Rigetti's looks pretty dang interesting to me. I don't like these names personally, but we'll see. Do I ever go into an earnings report to assess earnings quality? I don't know what that means, Strata. I don't know what that means. I don't assess anything about earnings other than the reaction to the earnings. Earnings can be awesome. Earnings could literally be awesome, but the reaction be shitty. And I don't get bullish. Earnings could be terrible. Earnings could be terrible, but if price goes up, I get bullish. Raul, I'm not personally trading that name. I personally could care less about bull. This chart looks absolutely god-awful, and it's gapping down this morning, as it should. A chart that looks like this is one you should avoid with a 100-foot pole. Like, I don't know why you would look at this and be like, all right, I need to buy. Are you buying this because HUD got a little too expensive? Honestly, that's a real question. Are you buying this because HUD is too expensive? Thoughts on UI? What is that? UI? Is this UiPath or whatever? Or is that just Path? UI doesn't look bad. This has like a nice little flat base right here. Almost looks like a cup and handle. Not bad. Not terrible. It's up a shitload, but this is digested really nicely. Looks great. My stops are almost always low of the day that I buy it. Almost always. Nah, Tiger, I hate this price action. This looks terrible. Look at the daily on this thing, guys. Zoom out on this thing. Is this really a chart? Yes, it's grinding higher. Is this what you want to own? This looks absolutely god awful to try and be in this thing. Like, imagine all the highs and lows. This thing would just give me heartburn. Heartburn. No thanks. Like, Futu had a really nice setup at 127 bucks. Right? Nice little flat pivot. And then broke through there and off to the races. SBET, are we in the teens yet? Sure are. You were looking at WGS. Very nice move. Coming into a bunch of supply up here. We'll see. Not one you have to be in. You don't have to buy anything on earnings right now. You hear a peacock. Yeah, you should. Got a bunch of them. And nine of them back there. Funny you know what a peacock sounds like. Not a lot of people do. If I had to trade only 2 trade setups, what would it be? High volume close, because it's very easy, and a flat base breakout. 2 very, very easy setups. Could you be making a U-turn? I see what you did there. Yeah, this doesn't look all that bad. It looks like, recent start of stage 2. Love the volume that's been coming into this thing. Some skyscraper volume. Does not look bad. I thought it looked pretty good on 7-3. And then, maybe a little bit more tightening on the right-hand side of the chart, but it does look pretty good. It does look pretty good. VST looking great. Yeah, it looks like this one, like a cup and just building out the handle. Looks good. Oh, yeah, I love Pat. Pat's the man. AGX. Mm-hmm. Calm. Yeah, this one looks pretty good too. Big weekly base. Really nice move up for a young name, and then huge weekly base. Guys, I'm going to turn on my espresso machine real quick. Give me a second. All right, we're back. Rubric, the group hasn't been acting all that great. Nice to see this thing gapping up, but we're gapping up on air right into the 50 simple moving average. Why are we gapping up anyway? Is there news here or something? On no volume? Nope. Yeah, I wouldn't buy this thing. Not yet anyway. It's not dying, so that's a good thing, but it's also not doing anything right. So I wouldn't be a buyer of Rubric today. And it's just bumping into the 50-day right here. 89.59. No thanks. Needs to prove itself a little bit more. VNet. This thing looks pretty interesting. It's shown you that when it gets going, it can make an awesome linear move. I mean, this is what dreams are made of here. Not bad. I don't know much about VNet personally. Looks like there's some Asian company, if I'm not mistaken. What's my process for compiling my watch list? I go through my relative strength scan. That's number one. And then the most important part when I start to go through my relative strength scan is I don't put names on my watch list that are outside of top 40, 50 groups, the top 40, 50 groups in the market. And that's about it. So I focus on stocks that are have good relative strength, are in the top 40, 50 groups. And if I want to take it one step further, they got to have good earnings and sales, right? If they have good earnings and sales, that's how I really, know that I want to own them. What do I compare Rubric with? It's a cybersecurity name, right? So you're going to compare it with names like Zscaler, CrowdStrike, Okta, Net, PanW, CYBR. So those are the names that you would compare it with. My thoughts on GDS. There's better. It's nothing terrible with it, actually. Yeah, I don't know. It's not bad. You got to move up. You're starting to tighten up on the right-hand side of the chart. Yeah, it's not bad. We're gapping up today a little bit. The only real issue with these Chinese equities, too many gaps on the daily. That's the real problem. Gaps galore. Any books or courses? No, there are videos, just, kind of explaining how I use progressive exposure, how I think about, and I'm there all day, Cotton. I mean, I'm literally live streaming. If I'm at the desk, I'm live streaming. So I think the best way to learn is you ask questions to things you have no idea about. Great question, Turquito. Usa Finviz. No sé si es familiar con cómo se usa, pero Finviz es lo que yo uso y después vas a screeners y busca los grupos o míralo por grupo. Sorry, guys, Spanish. Some guy wrote me in Spanish, so I just had to make sure he got the reply in his native tongue. Yeah, app looking better. I just don't have a setup to get myself into this. ASTS. This is another one. We're just a bit extended from the 50. That's a problem. We just need the 50 to catch up a little bit more. Yeah, Carvana just has earnings. That's the only problem with Carvana. No, I'm Colombian and Puerto Rican, half and half, right down the split, right down the center. Yeah, I take EPs, but what I'll do is, first of all, you want to know that EPs are working, and on an EP, I'm just buying a 5-minute opening range break. Or the other idea on an EP is you'll get the run up. Like, let's just say the EP happens at night, or you'll get the run up. Max, you're funny. You'll get the run up in after hours, and then you'll get the high, and then you're going to be buying in the morning the break over that after hours high. Yeah, AGX is fine. AGX has got potential. Nice earnings and sales there. Good group. Yeah, looks good. Yeah, Puerto Rican Spanish is a little difficult. That's for sure. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I wouldn't, in this current moment in the market, I would not be a buyer of EPs here, right? If you guys have been seeing what gap ups have been doing in terms of earnings, they've been gapping up and then stuffing. So before you go buying something, I would just, especially on earnings like this, if WGS is going to go higher, right, it's going to give you a high volume close, and then you're going to get an entry from there. But I think, buying WGS right here on day one, I don't think it's necessary in this market, to be totally honest with you. You're better off waiting for a high volume close, in my opinion. BBAI, yeah, I mean, needs to finish tightening up the right-hand side of this chart. That's all. Doesn't look all that bad. Yeah, MBIS, another one that I've had on watch for a few weeks now. Yeah, $55 probably. And MBIS looks good. Doesn't look incredible, but it looks pretty good. Been keeping an eye on this one for a few weeks now. Yeah, Bitcoin looks pretty good today. The real problem with Bitcoin is not Bitcoin itself. It's the underlying names, right? MSTR has been lagging like crazy. And you guys should already know my opinion on this. I did a post about it, I think last week. So I would leave it alone. I would leave MSTR alone. The underlying names don't look so good. Oh, you caught BE? You bought this on the earnings gap up day, or the news gap up day? I thought this looked really nice down here, right off of the 20. Yeah, other than MSTR owning Bitcoin, they don't have financials. They don't make money. They have some kind of money coming in because they own Bitcoin. They don't make money. Shit's hilarious. MSTR to make no money. Yeah, Riot, very nice relative strength. Cypher hanging in there. Iron kind of pulling back a little bit this morning, but hanging in there. Hut I like too, hanging in there. But again, that's just the word I'm using. They're just hanging in there. I don't know. NVTS. Yeah, again, there's nothing. This still a little extended from the 50. I mean, not too extended, but you could see that there's a little bit of supply right against this left side peak, 917. Every time it got to this left side peak up here, it had these little upper wicks. So, you kind of rejected at that level all day yesterday, and then it looks like you're following through the downside just a touch today. I don't love it. Maybe a little bit more tightening on the right-hand side. But the only reason this stock is up from $2 to $9 is because of some partnership or deal with NVIDIA. Ugh. Oh, so you bought $650. You bought it right here then. I'm assuming, right? Which, in my opinion, was the best spot to buy it. Yeah, SYM Symbiosis, another one that is an absolute monster. Yeah, ideally a little bit more sideways too, because this is extended from the 50. Guys, I do not buy stocks extended from the 50. A beast. This chart is absolutely phenomenal, but you get this really big move up, and then I just need a little bit more digestion while the 50 catches up. That's it. I just cannot buy stocks when they're extended from the 50. It's a no-go in my book. Can't do it. Wolf, best looking Bitcoin miner. I mean, I would disagree a little bit with that, but yeah. It kind of looks like Riot is your strongest, well above your 200 now, and consolidating pretty nicely up here too. But again, they're all in the same group. If one goes, they all go. JFrog. I haven't seen this one in a few days. Yeah, JFrog looks pretty good, but this thing should have earnings coming up here any moment now, so just be careful with Frog. How do I feel about AS? I talked about it yesterday. You just need to add one more letter S to it, and it's ass. No, it needs to get going. And it needs to get going like today and the rest of its days. How far away? No, it's not a percent thing. It has nothing to do with percent. It has everything to do with average true range multiple. So if the stock moves 3%, then I don't buy it more than 12% from its 50. If the stock moves 5%, I don't buy it more than 20% from its 50. If the stock moves 9%, I don't buy it more than 36% from its 50. In other words, I try to make sure that all of my buys are within or right around 4 times its average true range from the 50. Hopefully that makes sense. It has nothing to do with percent, because if I told you, 10% is too extended, well, 10% for a name like SMCI, that's like a day or two of move. A 10% move for JP Morgan is like 5 days of a move. So it's not percentage based. Christian, you are absolutely right, dude. I got to get ready for stream. I will see you guys as well, bright and early in the morning, same time tomorrow, 23 hours from now. You guys trade them well, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Don't do anything crazy. Market's still a touch extended. Wait for your fat pitch, and we will see you tomorrow. Yep. Cheers, guys.